I've recently seen Wes Anderson's Isle of Dogs, and you know what? I loved it! I loved it so much. It was so weird and well done and absolutely not for children. Okay, Wes Anderson is the most whimsical weirdo, and oh my god, he's an acquired taste. And this movie is an acquired taste, okay? It is in no way, and yet in many ways, it's complicated because as a dog fan, I thought it did a fantastic job. But also, as a dog fan, it granted one of my worst nightmares come true. Dogs being sent to live on a trash island by cat lovers. It was stomach churning. It was terrifying. It validated how pure their species' hearts are, but still gave them their own independent thoughts and souls, and a redeeming adventure for some and fall for others. It was amazing. It's exactly what I love about animated tales, but it in no way was adorable or colorful. Actually, the whole thing was very bleak, like in tone and appearance. It was kind of hard to watch, but they're dogs, and they were doing noble things like dogs do, so I loved watching it. I loved this story so much. The animation, kind of funky, but there was the charm to it. There's that charm, all right? I was very mad at when they made that video about how they were talking about how they had, their Nike Daddy's money to make all the props ever possible to make smooth animation. Their animation is gorgeous. But I also like style, individualism, okay? Stuff that you can tell apart, okay? And this movie, I could not confuse for any other movie because it was so unique and different. And that is a miracle in this time, okay? It's a miracle. I mean, the adventure, yeah, the characters are so Wes Anderson. Everyone says exactly what they're thinking. They're weird. They're sad. They are awkward. But they're also tough and endearing and have their pros and cons, and they're very well-rounded. While also just being as strange as heck. And yes, nasty things happen. Terrifying things that, yeah, I would wait till your kid's at least like 13 or maybe 14, depending on how mature they are, to see. Or maybe some kid will sneak around and see and be slightly traumatized. I'm not saying it's Watership Down, but it's close to Watership Down. While still being just so heartwarming for a dog lover. Just so... It's kind of like watching Felidae. Now, Felidae is this European animated movie, like traditional 2D, that's done about cats trying to solve a murder. And it's gory. It looks like the Aristocats in style, but it is pretty gruesome, like in language and in action. And as was this movie. It was, stop-motion animation and about dogs. In fact, there were cats in this movie, like all the bad guys were cat owners, but the cats didn't talk. Now, there's a glitch, but there's also something funny about how, unredeemable they made the cat villains. Like, the cats don't even talk, but it's like, yeah, we're cat lovers, that's why we hate dogs. Simple reason. Simple reason. And also so funny. I myself love both at different times of day, but it was so funny. It's like, yay, a movie that really speaks to the dogs. Oh, I love them so much. Now, what are its flaws? Well, for some reason it's in Japan, and it's awkward and very weeboo-y, because the story is very acceptable for almost any other American setting, post-industrial. It could have been done anywhere, and the fact that it was done about Japan from a non-Japanese company, I mean, I think some Japanese companies helped to create it, but it was just kind of awkward in some ways kind of cringy, because it's like, I kind of like that you couldn't understand them in Japanese. It was really annoying at first, but then you kind of get used to it, and it's like, all right, this is like in Smallfoot when the humans and Yetis just hear each other making groaning noises. It's way thicker than that and way more like one-sided, and yeah, that can be kind of annoying when you actually want to know. Now, the impressions of it, like what these characters are doing, their intentions are clear, so you can get through the movie, but if you're not a patient person, then it's really aggravating. It is. And really, you could have done this movie in any other time period and setting, and it would still be fine. So that's why I still like it very much as a movie. I just think, it being so, Yeah, I love Japan. This is how much. It's kind of like when white dudes put Buddha posters in their walls. It's just not necessary. But everything else about it, like the actual story and the actions and what goes on, totally necessary and very likable. I'm not gonna lie, that sushi scene was beautiful, but you can have sushi anywhere. So yeah, not totally necessary. But still, a lot of things about this movie were so good that I can forgive the weeboo-ness. So, oh, so noble, so rewarding for my patience, it really was. Another flaw is that the women characters or the female characters all seem to be dependent on what the male characters were doing, more like sidekicks than individuals. But I still think Scarlett Johansson is a pretty darn good voice actress, and I hope she gets more parts. I didn't even recognize most of the other voice actors, despite them all being like pretty likable actors, but I just saw them as their characters, and that was fun. I love how Jeff Goldblum is like that one dude who's always, talking about rumors, and the other dogs are like, wait, where are you getting all these rumors? It's like, oh, okay, yeah, they actually mentioned that. That's just one of the weird but charming things Wes Anderson movies do. Now, I cannot recommend this movie for everyone. If you're a Wes Anderson fan, sure. If you're an animation fan, absolutely. If you're quirky, absolutely. If you're I think you have to be a real dog lover to like. If people who just have dogs as pets and like their pets won't necessarily like this movie, but I think they'll get a chuckle out of like how stark the comparison of how cats and dogs are treated in this movie to be pretty funny, or at least a little ground shaking. So I like this movie very, very much. I think it's a special movie. I'm happy it's made. Despite its big cringiness, the cringiness is part of its charm. Like, oh my god. When you get to the part where the animals are, they were experimented on, it's like, oh yeah, that really happens, okay? Not all animals are Shih Tzus being happily taken care of. Animals get abused and hurt. They starve. They get sick. It's disgusting to look at. But it's real. And this movie doesn't sugarcoat that at all. And I love it for that. As much as it made my stomach sick, I love it for doing that. So thank you. You're a great movie for dogs. Right up there with Lady and the Tramp, 101 Dalmatians. Yeah, you're way above Oliver and Company, but still that one has some charms. There needs to be more dog movies made by different companies. There's The Secret Life of Pets, but the first one was fine. The second one just seemed to be trying too hard. And like the difference between Secret Life of Pets and this movie, just planets apart. So if you want to stay in your safe zone and watch some cuddly goofiness, well, still pretty funny, Secret Life of Pets, then sure, go ahead, God bless you. But if you want something that'll really rock your world, shake you up, and if you have 2 hours to give your mind to, if you really want to read a novel almost, that's how slowly this movie takes its time, but it's very rewarding altogether. It's very rewarding. Thank you for watching my review. Watch Isle of Dogs. Grain of salt, but watch it. It's fantastic.